Veli Ngubane from the Avatar Agency, a very warm welcome. Harnessing the power of digital solutions. You say this, African problems are ripe for digital solutions. First of all, before we talk about the solutions, what sort of problems are we talking about?
We're talking all types of basic problems in Africa. You know, we're third world, a lot of third world countries, the education problems, you've got healthcare problems, just basically the basic problems that only technology at this point can actually solve, you know. So I mean, from governance problems and infrastructure problems, and I think brands have got a chance to actually harness the power of technology to actually solve those problems in our continent.
Why should brands be getting involved in problem solving?
Because first of all, technology is really meant to solve problems. It's meant to make our lives easier. Now, brand association, if you can have a brand that helps you with something, you know, you have a greater love for that brand. If you give me an app that says I don't need to leave my home, I can do my banking as I sit at home, I've got a greater love. So I think when brands start getting into the problem-solving space, they start building brand love because they make everything convenient.
And let me say to you that that is a very altruistic approach. Often brands pay lip service to the love that you talk about, but the reality is that they're still driven by profit.
I think that we found those type of brands are easily found out because it's not sustainable to be like that. I think if you look at banking sector, you know, you can actually have profits through the good that you do. And I think F&B is one such example where by making your life easier, you're going to use their products even more. You're going to switch to their banking. So I think brands can really combine the altruistic nature of giving and of actually adding value to society and balancing with profits. I mean, you look at M-Pesa, making lives of millions of people in terms of their banking, in terms of making sure that they have a bankable African database, you know. So really brands that actually contribute to the society are actually going to win at the end.
Is there, in your opinion, a noticeable move by consumers to forcing brands to think in that respect?
Well, I think the advent of social media has allowed that because brands for the first time are getting questioned. You know, they're getting questioned, why are you doing this? And the people that have the advantage are the people with the apps that help consumers, are the people with the sites that have got the usability and the functionality to actually make your life easier. So I think because in the consumer space you need to stand out, the brands that are doing more in terms of the digital space and in terms of technology are the ones that are winning.
You've made your case. Let me suggest to you, though, that in spite of all this, it all comes down to skills and capacity to implement the type of solutions that you're talking about. We have a paucity of that in this country.
I think. Look, let's concentrate on the continent and let's look at the glass half full from a continent perspective. We've got 50% of the continent that is 19 years or younger. So in the next few years, we're going to have the youngest nation, a technology-first market. You know, we've got over 80% penetration of mobile phones. So we've got this young nation, this young energy of people that are coming through. Now, I see the positive in that, and I think brands that really take advantage of that youthful energy of the continent are the brands that are going to succeed. And you know, by sheer value and sheer size of the new market that is coming through, I think the skills inherent in that market are going to really liberate the continent technologically.
So what you're also saying is that while an enabling environment is important for this to happen, it's not necessary for government, whether it be in this country or any other country, to create that environment because that kind of data infrastructure that you're talking about is self-developing anyway. It's happening in spite of authority.
Definitely, it's a life on its own. You know, the internet.
A life of its own.
Yeah, the internet is the infrastructure, and I think you know, traveling the continent and seeing other countries. You look back and you look at South Africans. We rely too much on government. You know, we sit there and question what is government doing for us, and we've got this wonderful infrastructure called the internet that you can learn, you can teach, you can innovate through it, and I think the opportunity is there really in harnessing. And we've seen what is done over the continent. continent. I mean, it's overthrown governments. That's how powerful this medium is, and it's almost a life of its own. And if you've got a nation and if you've got a people that are using that power positively, it becomes, yeah.
A final question for you then. You've painted this very utopic picture, all right? Bring it right back to a brand manager or a marketing director who is watching our conversation. How do they take that brave first step? What do they need to be doing in order to seize the advantage?
I think there's two things. One, your brand needs to make a difference. Okay, and while making a difference, using technology to harness that difference, because then you can actually have that whole multiplier effect. And as I say, the internet growth in Africa is an opportunity for brands. It's an opportunity for brands to do things differently. You know, even in terms of infrastructure. I mean, we run 27 social pages across Africa. Even the way we deal with specific countries needs a greater innovations. You know, we've had a guy that wanted us, we ran a competition, and the guy wanted us to deliver his prize at the local petrol station. Now, how do you do that as brands, and how do you innovate, and how do you give access to people via the internet where there's no infrastructure, there's no postal infrastructure? So I think the environment in Africa has forced brands to become more creative and more innovative. So as a brand manager and as a marketing manager, is to question, what is my brand doing in the rest of the African continent using technology that creates innovation?
Veli Ngubane from Avatar, thank you.